Go
All
for it.
right. We are recording. We are on. It is Thursday. It is that time again. Same bat channel, same bat time. And we are here with Mynoo, Maryel, and we are going to, or Mynoo. I don't know. I've been saying it wrong
Me
for about
too.
1,800 years. And now I'm going to get it right. I'm so excited about what we're going to be talking about today because I feel like so many of us have felt the burden of like we've got to do it all, we've got to have it all, we've got to carry it all. It's up to us to do it, or the world's going to fall apart. The environment will, combust. Every single terrible thing that we see in the world is going to happen if we don't do whatever we're meant to do in our lives. And so I'm very excited and grateful to be able to hear today from you about how we can put our burden down a little bit and live our life in a way that's full and beautiful and effective and purposeful and just not have that heavy burden like pack mules. So, so I want to just turn it over to Minu because it is that time. We need to get to it and do it. So let us go for it.
Thank you, Sunny. And remember, if there are any questions that pop up, you can interrupt my flow. It's all good. And if anybody listening, you have any questions, just put them in the chat, or raise your hand or something. So let's begin. Yes, so it is the portal of regenerative action. The portal is open. It got open last week when we crossed point number 6. And today we are going to reconvene at point 9. Just to do a quick recap, because I know that some of you are joining today for the first time on this particular portal. The main thing here is that the results regenerate themselves. And in the portal of freedom, which is the portal that we opened before the regenerative action one, you reclaimed your power. Now, the regenerative action enables you to take that next leap. Freedom without directed and right action can lead to exhaustion. And this portal reveals how to act in a way such that results sustain and energy expands in such a way that enables the results to regenerate themselves. Outcomes regenerate without you having to hold it all together. So what we're doing here is we are going to be invoking, we have invoked, activated, and opened this portal. What has occurred by us invoking, activating, and opening this portal is it's important to understand the difference between these. So the main difference between these is that to invoke, you call forth something that already exists but has been dormant. It's like remembering it into presence. To activate is moving from potential into motion. So your intentions become energized. To open the portal is to stabilize a field where this way of operating sustains itself. No forcing, no pushing, and no repetition required. A portal itself means a system now self generates results. The outcome compound without any strain, and the impact outlives your direct involvement. So it's a shift from effort base to action and impact that regenerates itself. Regenerative action, because that is what this portal is about. What that means is, this regenerative action is an action that restores while it produces. It expands while it delivers. and it strengthens the system that it operates within. It does not deplete, it does not exhaust, it does not create any hidden damage. It leaves everything it touches better, stronger, and more alive. And the 12 regenerative action choices that we have been working with, I'm just going to do a very quick one-liner for each of them. The first one is choose from source over force. Act from clarity, alignment, and inner knowing, not pressure or urgency. How do you know that you're doing that? Your energy increases as you act, it does not deplete. The second regenerative action choice is choose a whole systems thinking. See beyond the immediate outcome. Consider the ripple of your actions. How do you know you're doing that? There are no unintended negative consequences that hit you back later. The third regenerative action choice is to choose value creation over extraction, where you give more than you take structurally, not sentimentally. Extraction collapses systems, value creation regenerates them. How do you know you're doing that? People return, growth compounds organically. The fourth one is choose capacity building over dependency. What that means is you empower others to operate independently. This is a very important one. You empower others to operate independently. How do you know that you're doing that? Things just continue to operate, continue to work, continue to deliver, even when you step away. The fifth regenerative action choice is you choose energy alignment over time pressure. You act when you feel your energy is aligned, not just when the clock demands it. Now you stop being deadline focused, you know, you hold the intention and you get on with it. And that in itself regenerates energy. Being deadline focused actually becomes quite depleting, as if it is the clock now that is controlling you. How do you know that you're doing this? Everything occurs with less effort and there's higher output. The sixth one, regenerative action choice, is choose truth over comfort. What this means is you act from what is real, not what is convenient. How do you know that you're doing this? Every action, there is a sense of relief. Even if that action was extremely difficult or tough to get through. It's funny, choose truth over comfort. So I've taken on medicine-free living, as many of you know, and I've particularly taken on the physical cylinder, which I had not focused on. And I'd got my son to train me on using the gym and the strength building machines and stuff, and that was great. But it isn't something that somehow I was not able to regenerate motivation, where even if he's not going, I'm motivated to go. So I thought, okay, I need to add some variety, you know? And then I reconnected to really what is my truth, you know? And my truth is that I love leaving people truly, madly, deeply in love with themselves. And that calls me into being in love with myself. And my innate vibe is masti, which is unbridled, um, in love for fun, and miracles. So the reason why I'm not regeneratively enthusiastic about going to the gym myself, I'm not as motivated as my son is. The first thing he does, even if we are going on a visit to a town, is find where the nearest gym is. I'm not like that. So I thought, okay, I need to just add some variety to my physical work. I'm in Thailand, you know? So I thought I'll do something really wild because I have that spirit of adventure. I took up Thai boxing. And oh boy, it is difficult and it is tough. It isn't just kickboxing, by the way, because Thai boxing works on your wrists, your arms, and everything, you know. And it's so I decided I'm going to take 10 private lessons because that way I'll get into the rhythm of it. I'll learn how to do it. And I have no idea about boxing at all, you know. And I totally see relief follows action, and I just feel more energized actually. My daughter-in-law was saying, "What about the muscle sore?" Yet there is muscle sore, but actually, what I've done is I do Thai boxing in the morning, and in the evening, I'm in Thailand. You know, I have access to some amazing massage, which is stretching. It is like phenomenal stretching. So I do the Thai massage, later on in the evening. So I have the Thai massage. So my body is brilliantly stretched. Whatever toxins that might have built up that would have caused the muscles to disappear. And I get them to do a herbal compress for half an hour afterwards. So my body is in a really great place. So I've been doing it like every day, which is well, even my daughter-in-law can't do every day. And I'm really thoroughly enjoying it. This is like this particular regenerative action step, choosing truth over comfort. It is not comfortable when you're doing it. And you have to be very focused when you're with the trainer. You could hurt them, or your kick and all that effort can just go into the air, and which is exhausting, and it could actually take you off balance. So it's pretty phenomenal to follow this in every respect. Find your own ways. But you will know relief follows action, even if it is difficult. And it is difficult, what I've been doing. The seventh one is choose long term integrity over short term gain. So important, this long term integrity over short term gain. You know, I mean, all of the stuff that has been going on energetically on the planet, with the war and all of that. There's lots of prayers for peace, and I'm so grateful that the world is doing all of that. And my guidance has been to bring in energetically the divine feminine into the mix of decision making. It is tough because all of the decision making that is happening is only alpha male, not even the sacred masculine, you know? And so what is this choice? I spend hours and hours doing this work, and I'm so grateful where I am living because early morning I have this amazing prayer with the sun. I do my sun gazing, I do my sunbathing, and I'm in this prayer with activating the divine feminine to be in the energetic mix of decision making. That's where I tune in, and that's where I bring in these divine and feminine energy mixes. That is choosing long term integrity over short term gain. I could easily go in and focus on, bringing a sense of gratitude, bringing a sense of peace, but there are so many groups that are doing that anyway. Where I can add the most value, me and my own spiritual mentor, Ellen, where we can add the most value is this. And something pretty magical took place yesterday where, I shared, I think Ananta is here, the kingdom of light actually opened up its doors. I'll have another session to talk more about that. That should have happened on the 21st of December 2012. It didn't. And it hadn't happened yet. That is really where the age of brilliance starts to really gain pace, even more than it already has. 2026 is the year where it gets anchored fully This was long awaited. So very happy that it has happened before the summer equinox, June, because then it allows us to use the equinox energy in even more powerful ways. Long-term integrity, choice is what is enabling all of that to happen. How do you know you're doing that? Is you don't need to fix or cover up later. That's the way you know that you're making these kind of choices. The eighth regenerative action choice is choose regeneration of self while producing results. Very, very important and huge. Your actions must also restore you. That's what I mean by this. Choose regeneration of self while producing results. I mean, something I totally ignored as I was growing up and in my corporate days. So, burnout every few years was quite a common experience. It doesn't have to be that way. When you do this ongoingly, you naturally regenerate yourself. Now, there are times like today, there was not that as much time as I normally have in the morning because we have our session. I love to make breakfast for my grandkids in the morning. And they also love the rhythm of that. I love walking on the grass. I have all my cold water bands that I put. I have my oil pulling. I have sun gazing. I have the prayer. All of that is happening, you know. I couldn't do everything. I did the sun gazing. So when I looked at, okay, what actions restore me if I had to choose? I did oil pulling, sun gazing whilst standing on the grass, and made breakfast for the grandkids. And everything else will flow afterwards. It didn't take that long, and 20 minutes is what it took. So just little thought will transform your own ability to regenerate your own life force. You feel more alive after delivering, after taking action. You don't feel drained. So it's been like clockwork, bang, 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 right up to this point. And then I also have to shower up. And straight after our session, I'm going for my driving license conversion from British to Thailand. So I'll have a driver at 8:30, and I'll be going straight for that. So it's like literally clockwork, but actually every action that I'm taking is regenerating myself. So I feel more alive. Now let's continue from here. The ninth regenerative action choice. Well, before I start, Sunny, is there anything you want to say or anything that's showing up for you with everything that I have like recapped so far?
Only that I feel like I'm on a magical mystery tour ride. I'm having the biggest blast writing everything down. And I'm remembering times in my life where I was the busiest that I ever was. And I was having the most fun. I felt the most productive. Everything, you just sort of like a well-oiled machine fed energy to the next, to the next. So when you're describing about after this, you're then going to do, and then this is happening, it's like it's so awesome when we choose the things that feed us and don't drain us. And it's also a shift of the dial with our lingo and languaging, I think, too. Again, from the I have to the I get to. So I'm not going to talk very much more because we're on our ride and I want to like let you stay on it.
Great. Let's continue. So the ninth one is choose conscious completion. Conscious completion, one of my favorite actions, by the way. Now what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is closed loops. Closed loops do not leave any energetic residue. Can everybody hear me? Thumbs up if you can. Okay. I'm just going to remove my spotlight and spotlight myself again because it seems to have frozen my picture for me. Okay. Am I spotlighted, Sunny? Okay.
Yes.
So closed loops do not leave energetic residue. I'm just going to, we go through different stages in our life. And we literally, and from just take yourself. I'm just going to take myself. At a point, I was this young child. I go to school and then I complete school and then I go to college and then I get a job and then I'm in love and I get married and then I move countries. Left India, went to Saudi Arabia, had the first experience of being hit in from my ex-husband, and then I, became an entrepreneur, created a solution, and created an institute for computer studies for women in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and then decided to wind up Saudi Arabia. 3 years later, went on to live in England, and then had a job there, did really well, had a child, you know, um, the the domestic violence continued, so I focused more and more on my career, and then finally, decided to step away, change jobs in the meantime. Had did my MBA program, whilst also having given birth to a new child. Stepped away from my marriage, had some time creating a new business and making that happen, implementing my entrepreneurial abilities, then went on to be in another relationship, got headhunted for a phenomenal job, did that for a while, um, until I decided to give all the job stuff up and only focus on business. And then did that, change, I created, sold a business, closed down one, started another one, just kept going, became a movie producer, and then ran three businesses at the same time. Then my partner has a stroke. Everything in life changes. So I decided to sell one of the businesses that we were doing very actively together, negotiated that deal, then also decided to sell a very powerful script that we had co-created. We sold it to Overbrook, Will Smith's company, and then decided to close down my involvement in the movie business because that just was impossible to do. Then went on to real estate, then the finance market collapsed, created my first business. I mean, I'm just taking you through this journey fast track. Because what I want to get to, and I want to complete it a bit more, then carried on doing this new business with this collection of, launched it in Bloomberg, had a number of small and medium-sized high growth companies that I was mentoring, and then just nothing made any sense. And I decided to wind up everything I was doing in London and went on to Bali. Went there for 3 weeks, decided to stay on for 9 years. And it was in that time, in those 3 weeks, why did those 3 weeks, why were they so seminal for me? What happened in those 3 weeks? Yeah, Bali is magical. What happened in those 3 weeks was, one, I was not very well. So I was really very focused on myself. But I got an opportunity to go within myself and look at different stages in my life and different sense of accomplishments as well as what I thought were failures, and feel whole and complete about the successes, accomplishments, and the failures and the devastations. And I was able to declare them complete. So suddenly my field cleared. I closed the loops on all of the energetic residue that I was carrying in my field from every significant happening that had ever taken place. And that is what I mean by conscious completion. I consciously completed, you know? And then it was like, wow. And that gave the space for my pineal to heal. And within those 3 weeks, I had the third eye opening experience. And the moment your field is clear, these earth angels that had already signed up for your evolution start to show up magically without you even knowing what to ask. So lo and behold, the manager of the resort that I was in, I didn't know what was happening. I only knew that Shiva had a third eye. I didn't know about anything else. I didn't even know that we all have a pineal and we all have one. I didn't know about any of that. I was just feeling as if I had gremlins in this region. They're constantly working. And I thought, maybe it's some form of bacterial infection that is under the skin or something. But it was deeper than just bacterial infection. So when I asked my spiritual mentor Ellen, and she says, "Oh, your third eye is being worked on for a special purpose." I was like, "Oh my God, what the hell is this?" You know? But that space wasn't there for the third eye to open, and it did open because I had closed the loops, the energetic residues that were really sucking like leeches on my life force had actually been separated out of my energy field. I don't know if any of you have ever had a leech on your body. I have never had a leech on my body. However, me and my cousin, who was my adventure buddy, who we would go exploring in underground passages and stuff. Um, we've he was a little bit reckless. So sometimes when we would come out of one of our explorations, there's such a euphoria and sense of excitement. And I wasn't a swimmer at all, and he was. He would often jump into a body of water that we would find. He jumped into one which looked like a body of water. It wasn't actually. It was a bit of a swamp, the start of a swamp. So when he came out, he was being sucked in. I somehow managed to pull him out. When he came out, his legs were full of lots of leeches. It was scary. But what leeches do is they suck and they blow up and they actually burst themselves that they can't even hold the amount of blood that they are sucking up. So you can imagine we all have these energetic residues are leeches on our energy field, you know? And every time you don't close a loop, you have planted this energetic residue, and the leech is active, sucking away at your energy and vital life force. And that's really what happened for me, you know? So yeah, I had the third eye experience, opening experience when I went and I made the decision that I was going to move to Bali. And what did I do? I couldn't just move to Bali. I had a big home. I was in a relationship for 17 and a half years, which is actually really satisfying and fulfilling. But I also knew that that relationship was complete. Yeah.
Everyone's seeing only me and not you. So I would love for them to see you.
Okay.
I think there we go. Good.
Okay. So I lost the train of thought. Yes. So I knew that that relationship was complete. So when I came back, um, I didn't go home. I actually went to my sister's and asked to see Phil over lunch. Remember, Phil has already had the stroke. So there is a aphasia and there is a communication issue that is there. And yet he knew that there was something off. And I said to him that I'll see you for lunch. And I spoke to him. I told him what had happened in terms of I felt that our relationship was complete. There's nothing wrong with him, nothing wrong with me, nothing wrong with our relationship. And it was time to just declare it complete. And for both of us to live our life independently doesn't mean that I'm not going to be his friend and I'm not going to support him as a friend, but our relationship as a couple was complete. There was no end to it. It was complete. And what was called for was closing the loops together. And he said, this is something you're asking for about what you want. And I'm happy about that. We'll work it out. And I said to him, we will work it. We will work out everything, all the interests we have together, but not our relationship as a couple. There's nothing to work out there. It is perfect and it is complete. Are you feeling good? Are you feeling complete about it? And he said, yes. So we completed that. And that allowed us to invite everybody who knew us, our friends and family, to a happy ending and a new beginnings party. So nobody needed to take sides. Nobody needed to, gossip or speak or whisper behind our backs. Everything was there in the open. Can you imagine? Even, many of you have heard me say one unsaid communication. Now, in the age of brilliance, is 1,000 unfulfilled expectations. Why? Because one unsaid communication is the start of an energetic residue. Why is a communication unsaid? Why is it? Why are you not able to say? There is some energetic residue about what that communication is about or who you're meant to say it to. Once you understand energetic residue that you leave in your space is a leech that is sucking away at your energy and blowing up and blowing up and blowing up until it collapses and you collapse. You will not hold any unsaid communications. I learned all of that in that time in Bali, right? Another really powerful thing that occurs when you get into conscious completion. I mean, you will all have various situations in life. Sometimes it may be that there's a job that you left. It may be there's a previous boss that you really admired who went astray. And that was deeply disappointing, but you were not able to say anything. You just chose to leave yourself. Do the conscious completion with yourself. So you feel within you, you have closed the loop on anything that is unfinished, anything that is unsaid. So there is no energetic residue that is left behind. That's the key thing. When I went to Bali, when I decided to go to Bali, when I went to Bali and to live, I went there with a wonderful bouquet and medley of health conditions: hypertension, high blood pressure, hypothyroidism, very severe hormonal imbalance. I was bang in the middle of the menopause, premenopausal stage, and type 2 diabetes. All of that was there. 10 months later, my mother crosses over and we are all there in Chennai, and the three sisters, we decide to do our 7-hour full health examination because we wanted to be sure that we take our health in our hands. All of those conditions were normal. All of those conditions were normal. Thyroid was completely normal. Blood sugar was completely normal, including the HbA1c. Blood pressure was normal. Heartbeat was regular, no irregular heartbeats. All my ultrasound scans of any growths and tumors, everything had disappeared. I was not doing anything to do with my health. I got rid of the energetic residues. And I was able to build from there. There was one specific genetic issue that remained which is the inflammation gene was not turning off, but that was the only piece that was there that needed managing. But everything else had reversed itself with no medication and no major change in physical lifestyle. However, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, and environmental lifestyles were completely different. And conscious completion, I'm such an active promoter of conscious completion. I often say to even teenagers, you entered the teenage year. Let's look at everything that was there before. Let's look at what is there to celebrate, what was good, what was bad, what was ugly, what is beautiful, and let's just declare it complete and create a vision for how you want that your teenage years to go. There are people that, enter a relationship, and then that relationship, they decide to get married to each other, change in state, change in lifestyle, timed for conscious completion. Complete your relationship consciously as girlfriend, boyfriend by acknowledging the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful without any agenda. Just acknowledge, 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 unconditionally accept it, declare it complete. Now you're free to co create as fiancés and then husband and wife. So choose conscious completion, close the loops, do not leave any energetic residue. Why is that important? From everything I have shared, incomplete actions drain future capacity. The impact that has absolutely impacts mental clarity, emotional freedom, and physical energy because life force is depleting very fast. A simple thing you can do is take a situation, what's still open here? Is there an energetic loop that's still open? What is still open? Acknowledge, that's all. Declare it complete, move on. How will you know that you made this choice? There'll be a lightness, no lingering mental noise, just pure, yummy lightness of being. Just checking, Sunny, if there's anything you want to say at this
All
point.
good.
All good?
I'm just enjoying, and you're on a roll, so we'll keep rolling. Thank you.
Okay. The 10th regenerative action choice is choose regenerative communication. What does that mean? Communicate in a way that builds, not breaks. Now, how do you communicate in a way that builds? I'll give you a very simple way of working on it, but the way what supports me in creating communications that build is I always remain connected to the context, So I reiterate the context. So if there's something that requires to be communicated about a way or an approach that, let's say, my son has taken that I don't agree with, I would reiterate to him the context, which is that, as your mother and as someone who partners with you from time to time, my commitment is that you fulfill and your full potential in a way that you live a flourishing life and enjoy flourishing relationships. And your business flourishes as a consequence of that. That's the context. In that context, with that in mind, I want to share something that feels incongruent with it. And then I'll say to him, it is to do with the way you handle this particular situation. I'm not going to give you the solution unless you ask me to, But I just wanted to point out that that is incongruent with this context. So just look into it. Rather than, you did this and so that happened and, you shouldn't behave like this, but you said you were not going to do this. None of that. So for me, that is regenerative communication. It builds. So it builds him as well. It goes, oh yeah, actually, that is, I do want to accomplish that in my life. I do want to live a flourishing life. We're here. I mean, come on, can't be better than where we are right now. And having stuff that is incongruent, if I don't address it, it will rebuild. So he made a request back to me because he does transcendental meditation. He said that sometimes I'm so engrossed in work because I really love my workspace, that I forget to do it. So if I forget, you have the freedom to just remind me to take those 15 minutes out and do my meditation twice a day. He would not have done that. He would have attacked me back if it wasn't a regenerative communication. So I love reiterating the context. It also gives me clarity to respond, not react. So why is communicating in a way that it builds and not break? Why is that important? Because words can either restore or deplete. The impact that it has when you communicate in this way, it impacts your relationships, the cultural environment that you're in, the trust that you have in yourself and in each other, and even the trust you have in the system. How can you do that? Be consciously aware. I mean, many of you here know your source mastery. Operating from your source mastery, you naturally speak to elevate and be of service. And if you don't have your source mastery, speak to elevate. Be conscious of your choice of words. You know, speak to elevate clarity. Attacking does not elevate clarity. Blaming does not elevate clarity. Elevate dignity and possibility. Dignity is remember, nothing happens with dignity until you honor your own worthiness and you show up dignified. At that point, you naturally honor the worthiness of everyone else. And it naturally elevates possibility. How do you know that you're communicating in a regenerative way? After the interaction, people feel stronger, not smaller. They feel stronger. You will feel it energetically. If you react or attack, you get attacked back. They're not feeling stronger. They're desperately wanting to feel above you, so they're punching you back. Doesn't mean that they're feeling stronger. So people feel stronger, you feel stronger. Both of you are actually blossoming in your own expansion. That's how you know. You engaged in a regenerative communication dialogue. What am I doing with presencing the divine feminine energy in the mix of the decision making? Opening the possibility of regenerative communication between the masculine decision makers. It is showing some promise, but let's see. We are continuing the work. I've not been asked to relent on the work at all. We are okay for time. Shall I continue, Sunny?
Yes, please.
Okay. The 11th one is choose adaptation over rigidity. You're keeping track of the chat questions on chat if there are any questions and comments. Choose adaptation over rigidity. What does that mean? Allow your action to evolve as reality unfolds. By the way, this naturally happens when you take the next step next. Does not happen actually when you do one step at a time. You get comfortable, the movement is not there. The natural torus movement, that is the energetic flow of the earth, stagnates. It prevents the reality that is meant to unfold from your step. It actually prevents or introduces lethargy in it. So when you choose to take the next step next, what happens when you take the way you work with the next step next methodology is you are always in touch with the lay of the land fully. The good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, all of it. And unconditionally accept it and ask yourself, what is my next step? Take that. Reconnect to the lay of the land. What's going on? The good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful. Unconditionally accept it. What's the next step? Take that next step. It does not take long. It really does not take long at all. And you have maintained that lightness of being. So you allow your actions to evolve as reality unfolds. That's why the lay of the land is your connection to reality as it unfolds. Why is it important? It's so nuanced and very powerful. Why is it important? Because rigidity creates collapse under change. You know, being anchored in what can I be certain about at this point in time, given that uncertainty is certain, even if you accept, I can only be certain about uncertainty is certain, you're not attached to it. You know, there's no rigidity there because rigidity creates collapse. You can have a system, you can have a structure. I'm not asking you to become completely free flowing. I do have a morning practice that is important for me. But if I become rigidly attached to it, I would not be able to do the travels that I'm doing. And I would be beating myself up, and the lightness of being would disappear. I've made most of the things that I do very portable, so I don't have to carry lots of stuff with me. And I allow reality to unfold with my actions evolving every step of the way. I had a situation where recently we moved to Thailand, and I have a particular way in which I eat. I don't have sugar in my food, and I don't have any gluten, and I'm also really avoiding most grains and actually most fruits as well. I know told me that when I met her a couple of years ago. So I only have certain type of fruits. And so anyway, so here I am in Thailand. In Thailand, Thai food has sugar. Everything has sugar in Thai food. Everything. Okay, and they have so many night markets and stuff, which is phenomenal. Now, night markets, they always sell you clean Thai food and Thai food. Thai food has MSG, clean Thai food does not have MSG, but they have sugar. That's a part of the flavor of Thai food. And they cannot serve you a dish because it will not taste. It will not taste good without sugar, you know? And I was so rigid about it. So I landed up just literally having some vegetables or completely tasteless, assortment of steamed veggies and stuff, right? My body revolted. There was a revolution. And it's like my entire system collapsed, and I just thought, I'm done with this. I'm going to have my rice, I'm going to have my lentils, I'm going to, go for it. The worst thing, because I'm still work in progress, I'm still like in not intensive care, but I'm in serious observation when it comes to my relationship to food. It was not good. It literally took me out by 2 weeks. And I thought I had conquered, but that transformed my relationship with food. I had not. It's only when I was working on this particular regenerative action choice I realized I had become so rigid that actually I had landed up creating so many deprivations. Remember, we were living in an Airbnb. Our things are not here from Dubai. We hadn't yet moved into our home. So we had like those 3 weeks of just not having the space. And the tastiest thing that was available was Thai mango, which is not a fruit that I'm eating actually. It began with that, and then it migrated to rice, and then Lloyd, and that's how it went. Now, okay, I am in my own home, and the amazing thing about Thai restaurants is you can actually take your food with you. So I take my cauli rice with me, you know, and I take my soup. I can get a grilled fish, for example. I could get that. I could get grilled vegetables and without anything. I can get salad with no dressing. And I have my own broth, or I have my own soup, and I have my cauli rice, and I'm good, you know? So this is a very big one for me. That rigidity creates collapse. It collapsed my entire system. The impact is, what does it impact? It impacts innovation and it impacts resilience, you know? So it's brought that resilience back. I'm going to continue giving the gift of my perfect health to my children. That is their that is their gift while I'm alive. And how can you do that? Be responsive, stay responsive, not reactive.
Mm.
Yes, Sunny.
I'm so interested in this topic, and I'm just going to be really, really brief. This concept of the rigidity of the choosing, and of there's a word that I learned from my Bushman elders in the Kalahari Desert, which is one of my favorite words lately: pivot. Pivot, pivot. And so as I was taking notes from you, I was also writing down pivot. And what I was hearing in what you were saying and what I was wanting to feel is that, yes, we have the opportunity to know what's best for us in many, you're speaking of food, but it's many, many things. If it's
Yeah, yeah,
exercise,
of course. Yes.
just everything, how much to paint in a day or how much to write in a day or, whatever
Yeah.
it might be. And it is that idea of also when in Rome, so there's something very natural to when you're in a new land to sort of take in the vibe. And it might even be the the microbiomes, this and that,
Yeah.
So there's that idea. And there's also, again, the feeling of the pivoting, the letting go a bit, and feeling possibly that whatever we have chosen for ourselves and created and then maybe gotten a bit rigid is that when we go to an actual new land, or it's a new land in our choosing in our own home, that there might be other possibilities we haven't seen before. So
Yeah.
the process of the programming or the day-to-day rigidity can actually keep us at a level that's a plateau, and there might be yet the next thing for us. So I
Yeah.
was just feeling that when you were chatting, and I'm writing away furiously here.
Very true. We are more or less towards the end of our session. Let me see. Um, we will not be able to do the 12th and the completion. Um, so let me complete this part, this particular one, and then you conclude the session today, and we'll continue next week. I don't want to compromise. This is so rich. The regenerative action choice. If we can operate this way, any one of these is serves you in every area of your life. So yeah, it absolutely impacts your ability to stay responsive. It impacts your ability to not be reactive at all, even when the other person reacts. How do you know that you are operating this way, choosing adaptation over rigidity? Your systems improve under pressure, not break. Your systems improve under pressure, not break. And you will know, you will feel it. You will feel it physically. Mentally, absolutely, you feel it. But physiologically, you will feel much, much better. I'm going to pass it on to Sunny to conclude our session. We will continue, to be continued, regenerative
To be
action choice.
continued. I love so much this session this evening. I'm so grateful actually to be hosting because it makes me feel, I'm sort of more involved than even otherwise. And so many of the points that you've made today, I mean, actually the 1 through 11, which we got to today, are so, so beautiful. I'm hoping you guys also took notes and stuff too, because the concept of the win-win, that no pain no gain is sort of over, greed is good is over, thank goodness, and that we're in a place of it can feel good, it can be good, doing good, creating good, feeling in a place of creation, that vibe that we had when we were little kids, and it was like we could just play all day because we did one thing, then another thing, then that fed this and that fed that. We barely had time to stop to eat or drink, or that feeling that we can continue to have no matter whatever age we are. I believe so strongly that that can be, and that is where we sort of are. And many of us on this call, I know, are already masters of that. And so I'm just so grateful for all these notes in front of me. I'm going to frame them, I think. Make t-shirts for each one, and wear them every day underneath my cool outfits. And we shall be joining again with Mynoo next week. And blessing and love to all of you guys wherever you are, and of course to your new land in Thailand, and having win in Thailand. Enjoy.
Yeah, yesterday I went to my agent who's handling my retirement visa, and then I'm actually traveling next week. So I have to get a re-entry permit because there's some banking transactions that are taking much longer than anticipated. So I have to get a re-entry permit, and I have to get my driving license converted. So yesterday, and I had to do a medical examination yesterday. So he said to me, Mynoo, hey, you know, you seem to be, I've never ever seen tension on your forehead. And I'm seeing it now. You're in Thailand. Come on. So,
You are a true inspiration to us all. I tell you, it is really, really, when I grow up, I want to be just like you.
yay. You've got to visit me here. It
I
is
would
just
love
simply
to.
amazing.
I would love to. How long are you there for?
Well, we are in this home for 3 years for sure, and then we'll
Okay,
continue. So I've taken a retirement visa.
count me in. Count me in.
Yeah, I mean, magic just unfolds. A friend of mine who told me about when I had to choose between where do I go for 3 weeks at that turning point in my life. Vani said to me, if I were you, I would choose Chiang Mai, but it is forest and it's a valley and stuff, so I don't know. There's not that much of a city. I chose Bali because my friends had gone to Bali, right? Um, but I think Chiang Mai is where I needed to be. So she introduced me to a few people who are phenomenal healers, she said. So yesterday I'd messaged this guy, he's Japanese, and she said he visits Chiang Mai from time to time. I don't know if he's there. I messaged him and he's actually living here, you know? So I go to meet him, and he is a very accomplished and very seasoned Japanese shaman, and I go meet him, and he said that, your higher self, she really wishes to communicate. Are you okay for me to do a session with you? My God, how fortunate am I? Absolutely. He said, my sessions are done with drumming. Okay. And off he goes. He does this drumming and brings in his own healing spirits, and he's communicating to my higher self. So when he's doing it, I'm just lying down and my eyes are, he says, close your eyes and open your heart, and I'm there. And then after 15, 20 minutes of drumming, he sort of said, okay, I want to, and then he communicates. My higher self is saying to me that, welcome, we are very happy that you're in Chiang Mai. And there is great depth in this place. So if you feel disheveled at all, it is only because you're recognizing the depth that is there in this place. And the higher self, he said, this is very unusual, communicates to him saying, this is one half of the session. You have to go to Mynoo's house and complete the rest. And it's time to really anchor the spirit of the house. I will tell her where the spirit of the house lives. So he'll come this afternoon. I mean, but you can imagine how magical this is, you know? Like, whoa, so beautiful. I found when I got home, I knew exactly where the spirit of the house is. And he's going to come this afternoon, and I don't know what he's going to do. So,
So fun, 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 fun. That's what we want these days. Can we just feel the fun? That's
yeah,
what I'm grasping at and pulling in. So even with food, even with everything, to just find the fun in it, the joy in it.
yeah.
Like, again, not take ourselves so seriously somehow.
The rigidities was a big one today.
Yeah,
Taking the rigidity out.
yeah.
Keeping your system and your discipline, don't get rigid. That's all.
Let's shake it out.
Yeah.
So until next time, I
Okay,
know
until
it's
next
time
time.
for us to
Namaste.
roll. So we will
Thank
be
you.
together very, very soon. Much love to you all and
Thank
much,
you.
much gratitude, Mynoo. Until next
Thank you.
time.
Until next
My
time. Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you.